My stepdaughter cut me out of her wedding and chose her bio dad to take my place. But when the bills came due, she discovered I'd already walked away. Hello Reddit I plus here. I married Laura when I was 32. She was 29, a quiet but determined woman with eyes that hid years of struggles, and a smile that carried both sorrow and hope. She was a single mother then, raising a 7-year-old daughter named Lily. The first time I met Lily, she was running down the sidewalk with her shoelaces untied, chasing after a balloon that had slipped from her hand. Laura was calling after her, trying not to spill the groceries she carried. When Lily finally caught the balloon, she turned and laughed. A laugh so pure that it made the world feel lighter. Something inside me shifted at that moment. I didn't know then that they'd become my family, but I knew I wanted to be part of their story. Laura had been honest about her past from the start. Lily's biological father, Derek, was a man of half measures and broken promises. He'd vanish for months, then reappear with cheap trinkets and grand tales of what he'd do next time. He never stayed long enough to prove himself. Laura wasn't bitter, she had accepted his nature. But Lily, she lit up whenever Derek came around. She clung to him, believed his promises, and cried when he left again. When Laura and I started dating seriously, she made one thing clear: Lily comes first. I respected that. I wanted it that way too. It didn't happen overnight, but Lily and I built something real. She started by drawing me silly pictures, stick figures with Dad spelled wrong above my head. Then came the late-night fevers, where I sat with her until the medicine kicked in. Then the afternoons teaching her to ride her bike, running behind her as she wobbled forward, only to scrape her knees and demand I promise she could do it. And she did. Every milestone, I was there. She grew up calling me Dad. The first time she said it, I nearly cried. I wasn't her blood, but in every way that mattered, I was her father. Derek, meanwhile, floated in and out like a ghost. Empty words, hollow gestures, never the one to stay. When Lily went off to college, she hugged me and whispered, "I couldn't have done this without you." I believed her. I paid for most of her tuition, her books, even chipped in for her first apartment. It wasn't easy. There were times Laura and I sacrificed our own comforts, but I wanted Lily to have the life I never had. And when she graduated, she ran straight into my arms, tears streaming, calling me her dad with pride. That moment alone made every sacrifice worth it. When Lily announced she was marrying Ethan, I was thrilled. I imagined walking her down the aisle, my arm steadying hers, symbolizing the journey we had walked together. But then the wedding plans started. I contributed financially again, paid for part of the reception, helped with the flowers, and even gave extra for her gown fittings. Then the invitation came. My name was on the guest list, nothing more. Confused, I asked Lily who would walk her down the aisle. Her words cut sharper than any blade. "It has to be Derek. He's my real father. I've always dreamed of him giving me away." The casual way she said it broke me. 2 decades of love and sacrifice dismissed with a single sentence. On the wedding day, I sat in the crowd. I watched as Lily, radiant in white, clung to Derek's arm as if he had earned the right to be there. My heart splintered. I wasn't angry she wanted her father. I was devastated that she had erased me as if I had never mattered. During the speeches, no one mentioned me. Not once. I was invisible. Something inside me shut down that day. Lily and Ethan went on their luxury honeymoon. White sand beaches, candle-lit dinners, photos plastered all over social media. When she returned, she called me cheerfully, telling me about the sunsets and champagne. I stayed quiet. Then came the favor. They'd overspent. She needed me to cover some of their honeymoon debt. I said no. She was stunned. "But you've always helped before," I answered. "Maybe you should ask Derek. He's your real father, isn't he?" The silence that followed was heavier than anything I'd ever felt. When she hung up, I knew something fundamental had broken. Laura was furious. She accused me of being cruel, of abandoning Lily when she needed me. "It's not about money," I told her. "It's about respect. I gave her 20 years of my life, and when she had the chance to honor that, she turned away. I can't keep being her backup plan." But Laura didn't see it that way. To her, blood came first, even when that blood had failed over and over. From then on, our home grew colder. Lily and Ethan's life unraveled quickly. Ethan lost his job. They fell behind on rent. They begged for help again, first through Laura, then Ethan himself. I refused. Each time I reminded them, Derek is her father. Let him step up. Of course he didn't, but by then, I was done. Laura grew distant, resentful. She blamed me for Lily's struggles. Nights once filled with laughter turned into silence. And then came Sophie, Laura's longtime friend. She listened when no one else did. She told me I wasn't wrong, that I had been treated unfairly, that my pain mattered. One evening, after months of late-night talks, Sophie whispered, "You deserve happiness." We kissed, and for the first time in years, I felt seen. 2 years after the wedding, everything collapsed. Laura found out about Sophie. The fury in her eyes was something I'll never forget. Lily was there too. She looked at me with the same coldness she had shown at her wedding. "You just wanted to be the hero," she said. "And look what you've done." "No," I said quietly. "I gave everything, but it was never enough." That was the last time I saw them. The divorce was brutal. I moved into a small apartment. Laura and Lily cut me out completely. Sophie stayed by my side, though our relationship carried its own scars. Months later, I received a message from Lily. "Dad, I know I hurt you. I know I failed. You'll always be my father. I'm sorry. I love you." I didn't reply. Not because I didn't care, but because I finally understood. Love without respect is hollow. And after everything, I had nothing left to give. It didn't take long after the divorce for the phone calls to start again. First, it was Laura. She showed up at my apartment one evening, unannounced, standing in the hallway with the same stubborn determination I'd once admired in her. "I'm not here to fight," she said, though her tone already carried accusation. "I just want to talk about Lily." I let her in, but I didn't offer her tea or coffee. She sat down, brushing her hair behind her ears, and went straight into it. "She's going through a lot. The eviction. Ethan's unemployment. They've been fighting constantly. She's fragile right now. She needs her father." I leaned back, arms crossed. "She has a father. His name is Derek." Laura's eyes flashed. "Don't do that. You know he won't help her. He never has. She needs you." "No, Laura," I said, my voice steady. "She needs to face the choices she made. She wanted Derek to walk her down the aisle, to honor him as the man in her life. That was her decision. My role in her life ended that day. I can't keep stepping in only when she falls apart." Laura stared at me, lips pressed into a thin line. "So you'll just let her suffer?" "I'm not letting her suffer. I'm letting her grow up." For the first time, I saw something in Laura's eyes I hadn't expected. Fear. Not anger, not disappointment, but fear. Fear that I wasn't going to cave this time. She left without another word. A week later, Ethan called. His voice was strained, desperation dripping from every syllable. "Listen, man. I know things are complicated between you and Lily, but this isn't just about her. It's about us. About keeping a roof over our heads." I stayed silent, waiting for him to continue. "We're drowning here. We've applied for jobs, but nothing's come through yet. Rent's overdue again. If you could just help us out, even for a few months, I swear we'll get back on our feet." "Ethan," I said finally, "you're married now. That means you stand on your own 2 feet. That's not my responsibility anymore." He tried to argue. "But you've always been the one who helps. You can't just turn that off." "Yes, I can," I replied, "and I already did." The silence on the other end stretched long. Finally, he muttered, "You'll regret this." "No," I said softly. "The only regret I have is giving so much of myself for people who only saw me as a wallet." I hung up before he could say another word. A few days later, it was Lily herself. She messaged me first, then asked if we could meet in person. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a quiet cafe near the park, where I first met her all those years ago. She looked tired, her eyes shadowed with sleepless nights. "Dad," she began, her voice shaky, "I know you're upset with me. I know I hurt you at the wedding. I was stupid. I was blinded by this idea of Derek being something he's not. I regret it. I really do." I didn't interrupt. I just let her talk. "But I need you," she continued, her eyes pleading. "We need you. Things are hard, and I don't know how to fix them. You've always been the one to help me when I was lost. Please, just this once more." I felt my chest tighten, memories flashing. Her calling me dad at her school recital, her hugs after college graduation, her tears of gratitude. But then, just as quickly, the image of her on Derek's arm at the wedding returned, erasing everything else. "I can't," I said firmly. Her face fell. "Why? After everything? You raised me. You were there. You can't just walk away." "Yes, I can," I replied. My voice cracked, but I kept going. "Because you walked away first. You chose Derek. You made it clear that my years of sacrifice meant nothing compared to a man who never earned your respect but got it anyway. And now, when you need something, you come running back." Her tears started to fall. "It's not like that." "It is exactly like that," I said. "And until you understand that love isn't a switch you flip on when it benefits you, there's nothing more to say." She buried her face in her hands, sobbing, but I didn't reach across the table. I didn't comfort her. For the first time in my life, I let her cry without trying to fix it. When she finally looked up, her face red and wet, she whispered, "Then I guess I've lost you." "You never lost me," I said quietly. "You gave me away." And with that, I left her there, alone with her coffee and her tears. It wasn't easy. Every instinct in me screamed to go back, to fix, to forgive, but I didn't. Instead, I turned inward. I started spending more time on my woodworking, building furniture I sold at local markets. I joined a hiking group and rediscovered the joy of mornings in the mountains, air crisp and clean. Sophie was still in my life, though complicated. What began as comfort turned into something deeper. She reminded me that I was more than what Laura and Lily had reduced me to. With her, I wasn't invisible. Months passed. Lily stopped calling. Ethan disappeared from my orbit entirely. Laura, bitter to the core, only reached out once, to tell me Derek had vanished again. He'd promised Lily he'd help her get back on her feet, but had ghosted her completely. The irony was too sharp to ignore. For the first time, I didn't feel pity. I felt peace. Nearly a year later, I received one last letter, handwritten, from Lily. It said, "Dad, I know I hurt you more than I can ever make up for. You gave me everything, and I threw it away for a fantasy. Derek was never a father. You were. I see that now, but I also know it might be too late. If you can't forgive me, I understand, but please know I'll always love you. Lily." I read it once, twice, 3 times. Then I folded it, placed it in a box where I kept old memories, school drawings, photos, little notes from when she was a child. I didn't write back. Not because I hated her, not because I didn't love her, but because I finally understood something vital. Love, without respect, destroys you, and I was done being destroyed. 2 years after the wedding, I live in a modest home filled with furniture I built with my own hands. Sophie visits often, though we've taken things slowly, careful not to repeat past mistakes. Laura and Lily remain in my past. Their absence is a scar, yes, but also a reminder. I gave them the best years of my life. And when they decided that wasn't enough, I chose, finally, to give something to myself. And for the first time in decades, I am free.